morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, everyone. JLR Investigates. Come on in, Sebastian, Wayne, Drake, Rogers, talk. I'm on my way to Pinellas County, Florida. A lot of things, productive things to do. We're covering this case extensively, and this particular topic today is suspicious Seth, red flags. And we're talking about the case of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, the little teenage boy who went missing over 6 months now. Hendersonville, Tennessee, Sumner County. A lot of red flags with this case, not just with Seth Rogers, but I would say everyone involved and the participants. It's probably why authorities have not publicly cleared everyone. But I have a lot of questions here because there's someone close to someone, or someone was close, really close to Seth in that Team Seth camp, and they've reached out to me recently and shared a lot of insight about, you know, what's going on behind the scenes and a lot of different things that they're doing. And this individual is just fed up and had enough and just said, I'm not even going to associate or hang around with them anymore because of just craziness. What I'm told, folks, which is very, very strange and bizarre, is that Seth, there's like a team of Seth. There's a team Seth. It's a group of maybe like 10 of them, and they have a chat. They're in some sort of group chat, and they can communicate. But what they do is, you know, they're constantly worried about what people on YouTube say about Seth, and you know, they're very angry, irate towards creators, certain creators that you know, seem to have taken the forefront in talking about this case. My name's involved in that mix too. As far as creators they hate, they don't like me. Team Seth doesn't like me. Unfortunately, you know, we're not taking sides in this case. We're just talking about trying to find Sebastian Rogers. I've always been Team Sebastian, never been Team Chris, never been Team Katie, never been Team Seth Rogers, and never been Team Robin Rogers, never been Team Bowersox, and whoever else centered around this tragedy. I am Team Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. I just want to make that perfectly clear. In their minds, they feel like everything has to be going through them, and you know, searches, because there's been an announcement in the last few days that they're going to start proceeding again with some searches, which is good. But it's not going to be centered around, you know, Seth joining searches or Chris and Katie. These are independent people that are just taking a approach of not dealing with any of the families and going around doing searches and looking around and trying to find Sebastian. Well, Team Seth is irate about that. They feel like Seth should be leading the charge, and you have to either be on Team Seth. You either have to be on Team Seth, or you're considered the enemy. That's pretty much the take of how they've, you know, did this case thus far. You got to be either Team Seth, or you're not. You're enemies to them, and you're not for Sebastian. That's the way I took it. That's the way that the person told me. But now their strategy here, for some reason, is to do a complete smear campaign and to discredit the Sumner County Sheriff's Office at all costs. So Seth's people centered around him are constantly bashing and publicly trying to humiliate law enforcement. For this strategy, the person told me he was dumbfounded, because why would you go against, obviously we all know, why would you go against law enforcement as the ones that are, you know, trying to find your child? But for some reason, Seth wants to discredit the law enforcement, maybe because he feels slighted, maybe because you know, the person didn't elaborate on that, but what I'm saying is my thinking on this is, you know, Seth wants to be cleared. Is he a suspect? Is he not a suspect? There's a whole big argument about that situation, right? But for some reason, the strategy at this point moving forward, and this is one of the reasons why the person said they're not with this anymore, and kind of just said, screw these people, I'm not, you know, and you know, it's interesting because this person that was Team Seth told me that this person did not like me. Like, this person that is talking to me, right? This person did not like me for months because the person felt like I was being too hard on Seth, or, you know what I mean, my reporting, didn't like how I was reporting, but now appreciates that the determination on, my drive trying to find the truth, right? Sometimes there's uncomfortable truths, and uncomfortable truths is definitely the case in this particular tragedy, right? I am not anti-Seth. I am pro trying to find the truth. I'm trying to find the truth. And with this particular case, there's been so much misinformation, mud throwing, and untruths, half-truths, that we don't even know what the truth is on Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers anymore. And I think Seth Rogers is a big part of the problem. I think he's been a big part of the problem. One thing I can't understand, and I presented a question today, another thing is, I'm very curious on why me, in this case, now, I could raise red flags on every single one of the people. I can name a bunch of red flags on Katie, a bunch of red flags on Chris, and a bunch of red flags on Seth. Doesn't make them guilty of doing a crime. I'm just saying red flags. There's red flags. There's red flags with this case on each and every one of the party. But honestly, if you could say who has more red flags, I could say Seth Rogers, even though it's so bizarre, it's so complex, because with me, it's like there's so many red flags on Seth, yet I want to think Seth is the least likely person to do something to Sebastian Rogers that night, the 25th and the 26th. I definitely feel every one of them are contributed to what happened to Sebastian. I made that perfectly clear. But do you understand what I'm saying? Like, there's so many red flags with Seth Rogers, yet he should be the least likely person to be a suspect. Some people think he's high on the list, and I get it at this point. There's some things that just do not make sense at all. One thing that doesn't make sense is continuous bashing of law enforcement that is trying to find a case, trying to solve the case of Sebastian. Continuous bashing on that. Now, why is that? Why are they? My thought is, are they trying to set the seed? Are they trying to set the seed so if the police come out with anything incriminating or finally reveal something that points a finger at one of the family members, including Seth or something like that, Team Seth can say, see, they've been so corrupt, now they're blaming me for this fiasco. Now they think it's me, but we know Sumner County's corrupt. Sumner County hides stuff. They're not, So if they eventually do come out with some information and stuff like that, don't trust Sumner County because the way, they treated Seth all this time, corruption and everything like that. So I think they might be planting the seed for something down the line. That's a red flag. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. Only Seth knows the truth here between the correspondence between him and Sumner County sheriffs as far as, what is being said, because we're going off of one person saying very limited information, very one-line statements, very bold statements, without elaborating, just they're corrupt. They have an ego. He's a D-bag. They're not emotionally invested in my case, but there should be millions and millions of follow-up questions beyond that. What do you mean by that? Why? Why do you think that? What exactly specifics are they doing that you feel is corrupt? What exactly are they not doing with your case? What type of correspondence? What have they done to you? Let's talk about, what evidence have you given to them so they can clear you? You know what I mean? Have they reviewed all your telecommunications? Were you using burner phones? What about the warrants in the house? Did they serve warrants in your house? What about these medications that you were claiming that they went through in Sebastian's the cabinet of his house? Things like that. I want to know more about elaborating more information about that, but we don't get that information. I'm headed to Pinellas County. You want to guys? I actually got a lot of errands to run, but would you guys like to come to the beach with me and see Howard Park, which is a pretty cool beach? I'm headed to Palm Harbor. Palm Harbor. I got a lot of errands to run today. But it's these red flags that are very concerning here with omitted information. Now, another thing, I'm dumbfounded about this, and help me make sense of this. Seth Rogers was working, supposedly, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you know, he was working, right? He was working the 25th into the 26th. They're putting out the information that he went to work 6 p.m., around 6 p.m. on the 25th, and he got off work at 7 a.m. on the 26th, and then went to the scene, eventually went to the scene of where Sebastian went missing, the Proudfoot's home, right? Now, we're taking his word for it. You know, there's co-workers of Seth that have told me that he worked that night, right? Seth has never really provided proof of that, but I'll take his word for that, and I want to think he's working, right? I want to think he's working. But the question I have is in reference to the working is, Seth was working all the way up to when Sebastian went missing. Right after Sebastian went missing, Seth never returned to work at all. And now, what I'm being told by people is the reason why he didn't return to work is he has to get medically cleared to go back to work. And I find that odd. I find that very odd. Two reasons why I find that odd. You're working up to Sebastian went missing. Sebastian goes missing Monday, the 26th, it's Monday, and you never go back to work after that. You don't go back Tuesday, you don't go back Wednesday, you never go back. Just a few days after Sebastian went missing, Seth Rogers' people, his sister, Swank, you know who I'm talking about, his sister, sets up a GoFundMe for him, for Seth Rogers. Just days after Sebastian went missing. Seth never went back to work, sets up a GoFundMe. Now, Seth has said in between now and back when Sebastian went missing that in the course of the meantime, he, I believe, had surgery. But what was that surgery resulting from? People say a shoulder injury. But did Seth not return to work because he got a shoulder injury after Sebastian went missing? After Sebastian went missing in the course of what? Searching? Did he get a shoulder injury? When did he get a shoulder injury? Or did he already have a shoulder injury prior, and after Sebastian went missing, the shoulder injury got worse for whatever reasons, and, you know, it prevented him from going to work? But that's one thing I'm just stumped on here about, you know, disability. Is he collecting disability? Is the Davidson County Sheriff's Office providing him short or long-term disability for an injury? Or is he using an injury for a reason not to go back to work? Can you fake to a doctor? And I'm not saying Seth's faking. I'm just saying, how do you go from working all the way up to when your son goes missing and then you haven't returned back to work? Can someone explain that to me at all? As far as searchings for Seth, you know, we arrived with the search stuff, initiating groups and whatnot. Seth was seen, you know, walking around searching, walking around handing out flyers, walking around going to different, you know, when we went to Natchez State Park, he'd go door to door at different points while I was filming him, you know, handing out, you know, flyers for Sebastian. We remember we went live, and that owner in that cul-de-sac of that big warehouse or whatever like that let us in. And then when we went in, you know, he's in the flashlight and he's walking around searching for somebody. So he has the ability to walk around and search for Sebastian. But what is he actually injured from that would prevent him from going back to work? And I'm curious about that, because how long is that going to go on? Is he going to be, is this a long-term disability at this point where Seth never returns to work? Or, you know, I was looking at short-term to long-term, and it seems like 6 months is like the first thing you have to do. There's steps or something. You got to get short-term disability for 6 months. And if that's the case, 6 months is coming up. 6 months is coming up. So I'm just wondering a little bit about, what is going to transpire, or is the injury an excuse not to go back to work? Now, covering this case, we've been hearing on both sides. Proudfoot's Chris works, and I think Chris has a decent job. I think Chris has a high-paying job. Chris seems like he went back to work. I believe Katie went back to work, but Katie doesn't necessarily have to go back to work if Chris is the breadwinner of the family, right? But they have a big house and everything like that, and probably a lot of expenses to do. But we were told all these years that, Seth wasn't really like a worker like that, like didn't really like working, and Katie did a lot of working when they were together, and Seth was like at home playing like Mr. Mom type of deal when they were together. But it just seems like fishy to me that you work up to a little boy goes missing, because there's a lot of conflicting information. A lot of people say that Seth got suspended. Some people say Seth got fired. And then others are saying their camp is saying that he's injured. Their camp is saying he has to get medically cleared by a doctor. But when did he obtain this injury? There's other people that actually say that Seth injured his shoulder because he was carrying Sebastian. There's people that say that. Now, I don't believe that. But there's people that actually say that Seth's shoulder injury was a result of something that happened, transpired with Sebastian. 25th, 26th, whatever. But things don't make sense in that aspect. Another thing that's a red flag to me is not one public official or anyone in Sumner County, it seems at this point, right now they did at first, I think for the first month or two, you could see Sumner County kind of rallying around Seth a little bit, but I haven't seen any prominent public official or people with standing or good quality, wholesome people rallying around Seth in Sumner County. I've seen none. And that might be part of his gripe on why he feels Sumner County's corrupt, because no one is gravitating around him. No one is supporting him in Sumner County. I don't see any support whatsoever. I don't see any local groups in Sumner County, local groups saying Seth is a victim here, help Seth, help Seth, help Seth. Now, I also don't see anyone publicly supporting the Proudfoots either. Maybe that's why they're all not clear. Maybe they're all involved together. I don't know. But it seems like to me the red flags are all across the board, and we have lack of information, which leads to speculation. Of course, we could speculate, and we're going to speculate on a high-profile case like this until it gets resolved. Now, Seth has opportunities here to really get the court of public opinion in his favor, and he has blown it on every opportunity there is. Matter of fact, I think that in Seth's case, in this case, he continues to dig himself in a deeper and deeper hole. And at this point, I think it's impossible for him to get out of that hole unless an arrest is made and they say it's someone else. And then people will probably be apologizing to Seth, though some might not, because, there's a lot of things, wrong in this picture, and a lot of failures that I feel regarding Sebastian. Case in point, I don't understand why any of the parents claim that they're going to get Sebastian if he's ever found alive. Like he's going to come home. He's not coming home to the Proudfoots, and he's definitely not coming home to Seth if Sebastian's found. He's just not. He's not going to them because of just the amount of failures, open investigations on the CPS aspect, or DCS. It's called different things in different states. With that. But I think Seth could win the court of public opinion and get sympathy if he starts providing proof that he had nothing to do with Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. And when I say proof, if he wants to win the court of opinion, if he wants to win minds of influencers, people that have been covering this case on YouTube, TikTokers, and all that, which can make a difference, because, a lot of the media reports on stuff on what YouTubers are doing nowadays. It seems like YouTubers are ahead of the game. when it comes to reporting and everything like that, right? A lot of the journalists are in these chats seeing what we're all talking about and piggybacking off that. But if Seth wants to win and be exonerated, besides just saying he wants to be cleared, he has nothing to do with this, whatnot, start producing some proof that he had nothing to do with this. And when I say proof, like, share communications, share the warrants, share when I mean communications is share if there's corruption within the Sumner County Sheriff, share it. Share the correspondences you had and put them on blast. Put the Sumner County Sheriffs on blast. If Sumner County Sheriffs are saying things to him in emails or saying things to him in text or even conversations, I think Tennessee's a one-party consent tape. Start recording their conversations. Maybe he did already. Get a lawyer. Make some steps and show that, you're taking the steps to exonerate your name besides just talking about it without providing receipts. See, it's a whole weird scenario in this case because I don't know. My thought is 100% focus should be on Katie Proudfoot. But it seems like Katie Proudfoot is slipping away through the cracks, getting not scrutinized at all anymore, not getting analyzed in the tea because she's just basically quiet. And, Seth now is getting all the brunt of this, but it's on his own doing that this is happening. And what I mean by that is, like, for instance, he's basically calling out the Sumner County Sheriffs while Katie Proudfoot and Chris Proudfoot released a statement the other day thanking Sumner County Sheriffs and thank you for everyone that's helping and showing gratitude towards the situation. Now, you could say that statement could be fake or it could be real, but the fact that she did it shows a whole different story of their approach to Seth's approach. Seth's approach in this case is really hostile, belligerent, doesn't like people, tell people to F off, surrounds himself with pretty much the bottom feeders, non-credible people that do not get respect and are the laughing stock of the internet. That's his surrounding, the people that surround, they're outsiders. They're not wholesome people at all. And I say that like you're going to be judged. You're definitely going to be judged by your company. You're definitely going to be judged by your company. But maybe this is the working that he wants to do. Birds flock together. I don't know. Is Seth Rogers a generally good guy? Can there, okay, besides internet people or besides people that just gravitated to Seth after this tragedy happened, so you're only knowing a guy for a few months, can someone on the record come out and say, now I think this taco guy did, but can people start coming out on the record saying that Seth Rogers is a good person? It's a good person. What's so strange about this case is, like me and Magnolia, when we were searching for Sebastian in Sumner County, there was people in Sumner County that were telling us to our face that the Proudfoots and the Bowersox are actually good people. Even though I feel like Katie Proudfoot is I will arguably say, I say the key, but I'll say, I believe Katie Proudfoot is suspect number one. But these people in Sumner County, friends of theirs and associates, one of their friends bought us dinner. One of the Proudfoot's friends bought us dinner. And just at least might not agree in a sense of, the way we say things, but respect that we're at least trying to find the truth. All we want to do here is find the truth here. We want to find the truth, but they bought us dinner. And they're friends with the Proudfoot. And this is when I'm saying that, hey, I feel Katie's prime suspect number one. I kind of toned that down a little bit and said key. But I really generally think that Katie's the last person with Sebastian. But yet, Katie has been totally quiet, and there's red flags all at the wazoo for her. But there's people out there that actually have told me that Katie Proudfoot's a very nice I don't know them. I don't know them. I do know Seth. And that's where maybe this is why I feel like there's more red flags on Seth than Katie and Chris, even though I think Katie is the suspect. It's strange because I've been around Seth. I know people he's affiliated with. We've had dealings with him. We've seen what transpired by working with him on the first month or two of this tragedy. And then we just, we're not messing with this anymore. And we got away. But there's a lot of people that are actually, as far as Katie. Now, Chris is a strange bird to me. You know, I don't agree with Chris Proudfoot, so-called belting Sebastian and all that discipline stuff. You know, it's very controversial. I think it's abuse. Other people just say strict discipline. But Chris Proudfoot, to me, you know, works. He doesn't have an extensive criminal record. And it just seems like he is too strict in his household. And is overly strict. And possibly committing abuse in his household. I don't know. We're not there. I don't know, you know, the context. But wish he would have came out and explained himself more. But he was getting raked through the coals. That's cool. I do think Chris Proudfoot was working. I do. Katie Proudfoot, people continue to come out and tell us on the record and off the record that Katie's a nice person. Katie Proudfoot is a nice person. They've told us that. So I don't get it here. I don't get it because at the same time, Katie Proudfoot is a nice person. And nice, you could be nice and you could still kill someone and be nice, right? And you could still be a jerk and not kill somebody. Right? So Katie, like, she doesn't even go on social media at all, on her own Facebook profiles, none of them at this point, on Facebook, and use a platform which has the capability of sharing eyeballs to millions and millions and millions of people, and they don't even utilize that to find Sebastian. They don't even utilize that to find Sebastian. Why? Why? Why don't you use every single available resource and tool available, your whole arsenal, to bring awareness to Sebastian? Why have your Facebook profiles privatized? You can set it, you can have and post stuff continuously about Sebastian and have it where no one can comment. So you don't have to worry about people spamming up or trolls coming in and commenting. You can have that, right? You could do that. But she doesn't do it. Either does Chris. Chris, I don't know. He posts weird stuff that has like nothing to do with Sebastian. Seth likes to go on YouTube, likes to comment on YouTubers that are favorable for him, but he doesn't even go on Facebook to set up a Facebook profile to try to bring any word whatsoever on Sebastian. Now, it's going to be interesting if law enforcement releases a statement and provides us more about the parents. Craddock said at the beginning there's no evidence of foul play. But with this new reward, indicates to me that they feel a crime occurred, whether that's foul play, kidnapping, foul play, because the reward states for the return of Sebastian or arrest for the person or people, I guess person plural, people responsible. So I believe they believe at this point a crime occurred with this case. And I'm in the consensus, I believe that too. But who did it? Who did it? Why is Seth acting so crazy and weird, strange, and bizarre with this case? You know, there was a photo. I want to take you back to this. I want to take you back to this photo here. I want to take you back to this photo. Remember the photo where Katie and Chris were in that restaurant eating? It was this photo here. Remember that? They were eating barbecue. What's so strange about this case is, and this came out of, this was on some, Chris Proudfoot said it, and so did the United Cajun Navy when they spoke with Nancy Grace. That phone call right there of Katie was actually the United Cajun Navy she was speaking to, so they claimed. They claimed they were speaking to the United Cajun Navy. And the United Cajun Navy came in originally on Chris Proudfoot and Katie's calling. But it seemed like in the course of that, Seth Rogers intercepted them and took them under his wing and diverted the United Cajun Navy away from Chris and Katie and onto Seth. And then Seth was telling the United Cajun Navy to go to all these weird spots to search or not to search or to pretend they're searching and solicit money. It's just a strange, bizarre set of circumstances that I'll never wrap my head around. There was groups of searchers that were searching at places, and Seth didn't like that. And Seth wanted nothing to do with searchers searching places. He'd be mad at these searchers for searching places. You would have to search where Seth wanted people to go. And some people are saying that's a red flag because you're almost like taking, like, look over here, but not over there. Look over here, but not over there. There were some posts in some groups when they announced that they were searching. Again, Team Seth don't like it. They're not happy with the announcement that there's some searches that are going to restart again. They think it's fake, shouldn't be trusted. But at the same time, they're not doing nothing themselves. And I'm talking about Team Seth. They're not doing anything. Now, another thing, going back to the not working. My source has told me that Seth, right, with these so-called shoulder injury, whatever like that, for the first couple weeks, he was seen on camera and everything like that, searching. At the point he realized in order for him to continue to collect disability or workman's comp or whatever that money you receive by not working, possibly through Davidson County, who's paying him because he was working his job, if he's seen on camera actually searching, it will take away his disability or his way not to get paid by Davidson County for him at his job. So he honestly cannot be seen working. So he's in like a catch-22. He can say that they're doing secret searches where there's no searches actually being seen and use it under the guise of being threatened. Because remember, he was saying, my searchers are being threatened, we're being followed and everything like that. Also told that it was actually detectives and law enforcement following around Seth to see what he was up to. Not necessarily people that were trying to sabotage a search, because that information never made sense to me. But if Seth is seen searching, if Seth is out there searching, right? If he's out there searching, would that affect his workman comp or his disability, whatever he's collecting, if he's collecting it? I'm told he is. I'm told he's collecting some sort of money and possibly, trying to do this long term to not go back to work for whatever reasons. We'll never understand that either. I'm told he has the job at Davidson County still, but it's some sort of medical issue that is preventing him from going back to his job. But if he's seen searching, then the medical people or the job that he has can say, oh, well, Seth, I see you're out there searching for your son, but you need to come back to work. So that might be one of the reasons why it turned into secret searches or no searches at all, because they haven't searched. They haven't searched. Now, am I right or am I wrong? Am I putting out misinformation purposely? No, we're speculating, theories and speculation on this case because we still don't know what happened. But there's so many red flags in this case or things that don't make sense. I wish these people would come out to the forefront and explain themselves. Produce documents, produce records, produce evidence, produce exoneration. If Seth Rogers really didn't do this and authorities are corrupt, then show why they're corrupt. Besides saying it. Saying is one thing. You can come on and say whatever you want. But show some more proof on it. That's my take. Now, you guys might say he has every right to privacy and he can say what he wants and we just believe it at face value. Would you believe somebody at face value if they're publicly saying that they're a suspect in a case and their name's involved with a missing child? And just take their, without knowing them? None of us know them. None of us know them. We don't know Chris. We don't know Seth. We don't know Katie. We don't know anything about them. All we know is what they want us to know, or what they want us to think, or what they say. When the camera's rolling, when they're on YouTube, when they talk. Another thing, too, is Seth is surrounded, with a guy, Tony Mathis. And this Tony Mathis guy seems like he's, hired or his design is to Seth's interest and protect what Seth says. Almost like I would say a guardian angel in a sense of making sure Seth doesn't say anything incriminating about himself or we don't get the real Seth. What's your guys' take on Tony Mathis? My take is he's a complete disaster. We've called him out and you know my feelings for him. I'm not going to elaborate anymore really on Mathis because I really think he is irrelevant in this case. But I feel like he's using Seth as a cash cow for other motives here. Sinister things. Not the genuine in his heart. Track record proves with Mathis, it's all about money, setting up LLCs and companies, making money. I'm almost at myself to like I don't have a lot of money, but my vision yesterday was like, you know what I should do? I should just say, here, $100,000. I have $100,000, and I'll give $100,000 to anyone that can provide information on what happened to Sebastian Rogers, that's truth, and or the rest of the individuals, and fork up $100K of my own money. I was literally mentally thinking that. And what if I did that? And even superseded the $50,000 reward that the FBI did. Now, people have sent me some messages, by the way. Now, I'm not going to do that. I don't have $100,000 to spare. But that's how, determined I want to see this case be solved. Me. This has been going on long enough. I'm a reporter, but I'm also an activist in this case, and an activist feeling like, hey, something got to give. And I'm generally concerned. And I'm generally curious about all the players and participants involved with this case. It's been 1 week since the reward has been offered. And so far, we haven't heard publicly any credible leads or anything to break the case at this time. So, we said money talks. Money can get us, I'm not going to go to the beach. There's actually a lot of roads here. There are a lot of cars, and I'm not going to go. I'm going to go another direction. I just wanted to jump on before I hit it. I'm almost in Palm Harbor, Florida. But as far as this case, folks, there's so much red flags, and it's time for the participants that are under these red flags, center attention people, to set the record straight and come forward and share the truth. Not very cryptic type statements, very, very one line, just very short, weird statements, weird things. That's all that seems to be happening. Wish Chris Proudfoot would talk more. He kind of just, I think they just got scared off the internet, because the internet people was just going right at Chris. And Chris, and Chris probably felt like, oh my God, my job's on the line here. If I keep going and going, people are gonna try to get me fired, and cancel culture and all that stuff would probably come at Chris. I think they tried on him, but I think that Chris just was smart and just stayed off the internet. Seth and his people stay on the internet, but they say things that totally do not make any sense. Nothing they've said and came out with has helped Sebastian in any way at all. Matter of fact, I think it's made it much, much worse. Red flags. Now, do you see no red flags? Do you see that Seth is just a grieving father here and he's just trying to find answers? Why doesn't Seth get a fund to get a lawyer to demand answers? Why doesn't Seth put a pool of money together to start filing public records requests, getting answers? What is Seth actually doing to find Sebastian at this day? Where's Seth right now? Maybe he's even watching JLR Investigates, but 6 months into this, what's the next plan here? What's the next step Seth can do to now, I think anything that Tony's making is fake, farce, fraud. And it seems like more and more people that have been dealing with Seth and Tony come out and spill the beans. There's somebody that was with them that actually has talked to me the last few days, and this individual is no longer with them. Says, I can't take it anymore, because it's hate, it's negativity, it said all kinds of things. I'm trying to think, there's probably some things I'm forgetting. It's kind of hard to multitask while you drive, hold up a picture of Seth with red flags and Sebastian and think of everything. I should have took notes. Pretty good memory. I mean, we know this case. I mean, we know the bottoms of the case. We know the twists and turns. We're analyzing interviews. We're analyzing what someone says next, what they're doing. It's a heavily populated, popular case. My mind is almost thinking, okay, Seth, come on, JLR Investigates. Not with Tony, yourself. Let's have a 1-hour conversation. And you and me, I'll ask you questions. Just answer the questions. I don't think he would do it. I don't even know if I want to do it. I don't even know if I want to really talk to possible suspects in the case at this point. Plus, I just think there's a lot of strange, unethical things that are happening. I am approaching Palm Harbor. I'm leaving Tarpon Springs and I'm going to Palm Harbor. We will continue to cover the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case. And if anything else breaks on this case, I'll share with you. Thanks for spending the morning with me while I drive. I just said, hey, I'm going to come on. We're going to talk about red flags. If you know any of these people like Seth, Katie, or Chris, and you want to speak on the record or off the record, shoot me an email. Tips@JLR Investigates. Would love to hear more. We want to know more. We want Sebastian found. Maybe we should all see. But see, I don't mess with GoFundMe's or reward funds or anything like that, because there's always trouble. There's always trouble when it's like, hey, let's all solicit funds and pitch in and try to create a reward to find Sebastian and everything like that, and get involvement with other people's money. Whenever you're involving with other people's money and stuff, it always turns into disaster. You know, these funds and all that stuff. It's just, you know. But I'm just wondering, you know. Whoa, by the way, there has been other missing children cases that people have been bringing to my attention that have had a $50,000 reward. So this is not the only one. I was saying that there's not many, but there is a few others. They were sent to me, so I appreciate everyone that was sending me those other cases. I don't know those cases offhand, but all right, I'm at the bank. We'll talk soon. JLR investigates. We'll talk soon. Sebastian's Army, Sebastian Strong. Have a good day. We'll talk soon.